In the end, I have a message for these 4 war criminals. 3 of them you can see in the picture, they are Israelis or Zionists, and the war criminals and from the blood of those innocent kids and those newborns killed in the incubator and those whose parents have collected their limbs and teeth, nose, and their bodies cut, their kidneys and things they removed for transplants or experimentation or trying to identify their hostages. There has never been even an animal digging up this. If you see a baby elephant die, you will never see such a cruelty, how these 3 people, and they could have never been able to do it without the largest criminal who's funded this crime and who is proud to be a Zionist. So I think now you face this, and in the end you will see that yourself, that you have woken up the whole world. Look at the youngsters, the students from all across the world. Can you now suppress? Have you gained anything? Have you caught any of your hostages, got them released, or you got any of the Hamas leaders? So accept your failures and sacrifice. Offer your sacrifice yourself, so that your whatever left is of Israel is, and I'm talking of Jewish Israel, not the Zionists, and of United States, of I don't know, I should call it states, or the colors of as there is a CNN program, the United Colors of the America. So if you want to save 250 million Americans country in whatever little form, because it doesn't just belong to white supremacists or Zionists as self-claimed this is, or African Americans or Asian or Hispanics. It belongs to all of you who live in there. So I think you should voluntarily sacrifice Joe Biden and who funded this, and without the approval of the Congress, supplied bombs and missiles, and I think the Israelis should do and voluntarily gave these 3 people to the Interpol so that they can rot in the jail, and all those innocent kids and the women and their civilians, the blood. And all those universities, they have demolished the hospitals, they have demolished the people, they have starved. At least that is with some satisfaction to the whole world that humanity is still alive.
Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region.
If I were a Jew, I would be a Zionist. As a matter of fact, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
I have had the view for the past 24 years that the only way in which there will be peace in the Middle East is when the Arab nations know there is no division between the United States and Israel.
What my record has been, it has been unstinted in the defense and support of Israel.
The United States has never and will never lose our resolve. Israel will never waver. I'm never going to leave Israel.
For the past 6 months, the images of a genocide out of Gaza have gripped the world. Razed neighborhood after razed neighborhood, mass grave after mass grave, mass slaughter after mass slaughter. Fathers carrying their children's body parts in plastic bags, mothers screaming, looking for whatever remains of their families, children left without limbs, without faces.
What did these children do wrong? What crime did they commit to deserve tons of bombs on their heads?
While the genocide of the Palestinians is carried out by the state and military of Israel, the United States, under the leadership of President Joe Biden, has played the role of its sponsor.
The defense of Israel is still critical, so there's no red line.
We are not going to create any conditions on the support that we are giving Israel to defend itself.
We will always be there by your side.
The United States strongly supports Israel and its right to defend itself from Hamas, and that support is unwavering.
I wanted to ensure, is that still the case, that the administration has no red lines?
That is still the case.
Since October 7th, the United States government has provided billions in military aid to Israel and unwavering political and legal support, both domestically and internationally, in addition to direct military support. But as the Biden administration and the Democratic Party find themselves in a political crisis in the middle of an election year, there's been a specific media narrative shift on who's actually running the show.
Nobody expects Prime Minister Netanyahu to do the things that must be done to break the cycle of violence.
It's curious to me to see Netanyahu talk the way he does when he tried to interfere in American elections.
We could go down the list of what Bibi Netanyahu has done to make Israel weaker, to make them open to that attack.
This line isn't necessarily new, but it actively erases not only U.S. culpability in the genocide of Palestinians, but Joe Biden's own ideological support of it, and what his legacy should and will be.
There's no apology to be made. None.
Welcome to Backspace, where we look at how the story is told in the headlines, and then we think about how we can tell it a little differently.
Students across the globe rising up for Palestine. This is the message from Voice of the Soul. Keep it up, stop violence.
Never. Unexpressive feelings running in my veins.
It's a revolution where the youth and the students once more are on the front lines of this revolution. And everyone here, to the community, you must come tomorrow, the day after, and the day after, because the students here will remain steadfast.
What's the soul of the 47? What's the soul of the 47? What's that soul of the 47? What's the soul of the 47? No wage and no guarantee. No land on the back now. No country, no form. Back to the peasant, to the falahin born. درب القوافي بنعرفها طفني ورود تلم ربني معبود راسمة صنع عهود وقت الحزم حنا الجنود حرب وسلم رغم حدود حنا حلم الغياب نستقبلها يا ابن العين يا ابن النهر يا ابن النبع يا ابن البحر ابن السمكو والزنقة هاي الزقة وهاي احنا بنت العين بنت النهر بنت النبع بنت البحر بنت السمكو والزنقة هاي الزقة وهاي احنا What's the soul of the 47? What's the soul of the 47? What's that soul in the 47? Shout with the soul in the 47. Find the fruit on the trees. Send it off to wherever you please. Make sure that the money comes back. Come back to the peasant, to the fellaheen born.
Fantasma Yayaku. Nobody can stop Palestine. We want our genocide to stop.
Do you know where your daughter is right now?
But I'm gonna be somewhere because the police start chasing all the students. They are threatening. If we don't leave the campus, we are gonna be arrested. But the students are so brave. Look at them. They don't want to leave the campus.
उनके आर्मी चीफ, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर और नेतन्याहू, इनके पैरों तले जमीन निकली हुई है, क्योंकि जो हकीकत टीवी ने आपको उस दिन खबर दी थी अब वो पूरी दुनिया में छा गई है। अमेरिका ने ऐलान कर दिया है, क्योंकि फौजें इस वक्त तैयार हो गई हैं, फोर्सेस यानी तैयार हैं इस वक्त नेतन्याहू को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए 123 ममालिक में। हुआ यह है कि इंटरनेशनल क्रिमिनल कोर्ट ने फैसला कर लिया है, वो इशू करने जा रहे हैं वारंट्स, और अमेरिका ने कहा है कि अगर वारंट्स जारी हुए तो ये जंग फिर बड़े पैमाने पर चली जाएगी। और अमेरिका ने धमकी दी है, असल में तो इस वक्त इजराइल को बचाने के लिए बरतानिया और अमेरिका सामने आ गए हैं, तो उन्होंने धमकी दी है। नेतन्याहू ने रिक्वेस्ट की है अमेरिका से कि इमीडिएटली इस पर पाबंदी आयद करे, आईसीसी पर, इंटरनेशनल क्रिमिनल कोर्ट पर। 123 ममालिक में किसी भी जगह नेतन्याहू एंटर हुआ तो उसी वक्त वहां की फोर्सेस उसको गिरफ्तार करेंगे और गिरफ्तार करके वो नेदरलैंड पहुंचाएंगी। अब सूरत हाल ये पैदा हुई है कि उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल पाबंदियां लग जाएंगी और पूरी दुनिया में इसराइल आइसोलेट हो जाएगा। ये इतना बड़ा इनको झटका लगने जा रहा है, इतना बड़ा झटका।
I mean, the basic argument for supporting Israel has been, first, we share values. Well, Israel is demonstrating the values of the Ku Klux Klan, and I don't share those values. And second, I mean, basically what's going on in Gaza is a mass lynching. It's totally extrajudicial, illegal, and brutal, and utterly inhumane. And the second reason is supposedly that Israel is a strategic asset. But I have never heard anyone describe what it does for us other than get us in trouble. So I think this is a moment in which the Israelis have made a huge mistake because, the question they used to pose was, does Israel have a right to exist? Which is a rather strange question because it does exist. I don't know of other countries that run around asking whether they have a right to exist. But I think that question is being replaced now in much of the world by, does Israel deserve to exist? Can the world really maintain normal relations with a country that behaves in utter disregard of international law and in a completely inhumane fashion?
The fundamental problem of Washington's imperial policies is that they really do not believe that a Palestinian life and a Palestinian baby has the same value as a Jewish life and a Jewish baby.
You don't think they see it that way?
They don't see it that way because their assumptions are so deep. But everybody knows, and the whole world knows, if there were a Palestinian genocidal assault on Jews and Jewish babies were being killed at the level and intensity that Palestinian babies were being killed, the U.S. government have a qualitatively different policy. In fact, the U.S. government would support the Jewish version of Hamas because, U.S. government has a history of supporting various groups that kill innocent people when they conform with U.S. foreign interests. So you can see when there's white babies or Jewish babies, we have one response. When there's Palestinian babies or brown babies or black babies, we have another response. So there's a racist element here, and that needs to be pointed out. And that would be also part of a West administration telling the truth. The condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak, my brother.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार जरूर। यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार जरूर।